but we're going to start now our student panel. I've been looking forward to this because it's the part you can't predict, so it's the fun part. I know you have interim tests tomorrow, so I really appreciate your time this evening. All right, so I guess we can start off ladies first. Anna, can you share with us just a little bit about your experience at Queen of All Saints, how long you've been here, and in what capacity as far as online campus? Go ahead.
Well, good evening, sister. Good evening, everyone. I've had a great experience here. I love going to class. I went to this school, started going here in fifth grade. So I've been here I'm starting my sixth year here now since I'm a junior. And I love learning about science and math and the English. Everything is very, very, very good.
Thank you, Anna. And Ryan, go ahead, Ryan. Ryan, I think you're muted right now. Not positive. I can't see your mute unmute. Let's see.
Hear me now, sister?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
That's
So I
okay.
only joined here in the 10th grade, but I'll be honest, I've been to over 6 different schools growing up, some online, some offline, and Queen of All Saints Academy is the only school that I've liked. When I first started here, I just come out of a public high school that I absolutely hated. My teachers were radically liberal, my courses were arbitrary and unaccommodating. The other kids were rude and boring. And Queen of All Saints Academy is just like the complete opposite of that. The teachers are kind and inspiring role models. The courses are logical, flexible, and fun. The other kids are some of the nicest I've ever met. And there's also a strong sense of community and faith that I've just never seen at another school. Um, and I think it's really motivated me because before I've come here, I've always kind of dreaded going to school actually. But now I look forward to school, and I've noticed that motivation can seriously help with your grade.
Thank you, Ryan. And Dominic.
Hello, my name is Dominic Marquez. I've been attending QAS for 2 years now. This is currently my third year at QAS. I'm in 11th grade. Before I joined QAS, I was homeschooled all my life, actually. And, well, life was kind of boring, kind of. I had no friends, really. It was kind of lonely. And then once I joined QAS, it's just, I don't know. I had friends and I don't know, I enjoyed it a lot and it
Right, right. Yes, the
made life.
social aspect is very important.
Yes.
Yes.
And I agree with Ryan saying when I was homeschooled, I didn't enjoy school at all. And then after I started coming here, I actually looked forward to joining my classes and going to school.
Thank you, Dominic. Oh, great. So I have a question here. Transferring mid-high school, as far as the level of difficulty and basically the transition, how that worked out for you.
So I'd never done a school experience like this before. Like you said earlier, it's pretty unique. But the nice thing about it is I mean, you can basically bring school with you as you move. So it's been pretty easy for me to do the transition, especially because I travel so much. My family is constantly moving around. And that has forced me to change schools before, but I've been moving all over the place these last 2 years, and I've been able to stay at this same school. Um, Sister Mary Margaret has been very helpful with keeping track of credits and everything. So that wasn't very difficult, or transcripts. I haven't really noticed anything that difficult about it.
Okay, very good. So then as far as I think they particularly mentioned academics, you didn't notice like not having been in the curriculum before, difficulty with prerequisites or getting into the high school classes?
Um, do you mean prerequisites as in credits you've completed already?
Probably more so, I'm guessing it's referring to not having been in our curriculum previously because the curriculum is completely custom built. So for example, transferring into our English program, did you find that that was difficult at all due to your lack of grammar, for example?
No, there's actually a really good program that they use to get students up to speed with grammar. It's called eGump. And we basically completely mastered English grammar the first year I was here. And I actually like the English curriculum they have here a lot more. It's a lot more logical, and they explain the mechanics of writing more in a way that was easier to understand, and they helped you a lot more with things you might have missed in middle school, I feel like.
Very good. Thank you. And I do know what you're referring to. That is a great program for getting caught up to speed. All right. And then we have another question here, rather similar. So I'd like to follow it up, but this would be for Dominic. So Dominic, speaking to your experience as a homeschooler, so you shared with us that you were homeschooled your whole life until you transferred to Queen of All Saints about 2.5 years ago. So coming from a more relaxed homeschool style, how easy or hard was it to adjust to the rigor and the discipline required for school?
I honestly didn't really have any trouble at all adapting to the rigor and discipline of the school. I actually found it fairly easy, and the sisters are understanding as well, and they help you to adapt to the school, especially if you're not used to going to school, if you were a homeschooler before. And the sisters really do help you to adapt.
Right. Could you give one example of something that you maybe recall struggling with that you needed some additional assistance with from a sister?
Really, the only thing that I had some trouble with was the iPads at the beginning. I had never really touched technology before that, so I had a little bit of trouble with that. But about a couple of weeks, 1 or 2 weeks, I figured out how to use the iPad perfectly well.
Right. Right. Great. Thank you very much. And yes, and I think that would be personal per student. I definitely have seen students struggle into transition, but because of that and our experience with that, during the application process, we actually work with the student to figure out if there will be a struggle and then hopefully address anything beforehand and even get the student into the program Ryan was mentioning. We open that up before the school year starts so they can get caught up and be on par with their peers by the time school begins. All right. And any other questions, Sister Mary Margaret?
Yes, we had one more regarding time zones. He says, how does the school schedule work for different time zones? For example, if one online student's time zone is 2 hours different, do they still attend at the same time as the in-person students who are in a different time zone?
Good. And Anna, you've
Yeah.
experienced several time zones. You were in Arizona, which is Arizona's tricky. I wanted to highlight that because Arizona changes time. Well, actually, Arizona doesn't change time. Arizona doesn't have daylight savings. So Anna, you had to deal with your schedule shifting twice during the year. And then you've also traveled. So you've experienced Eastern and Arizona, which is Central sometimes and Pacific sometimes. So can you speak to that? What's the answer to that? If there is a different time zone, do you still attend at the same time as an in-person student?
Yes, you actually do. So on the Eastern time zone, we attend at 10 a.m. So if you're on Pacific time, you're going to attend at 7 a.m. your time. So you attend right when school begins for the on-campus students, regardless of your time zone. So for some people internationally, they're joining at like 7 at night. So it's probably pretty hard for them. But yes, it's you join right when the Eastern Standard Time joins at 10.
Yes. And Anna, can you share with us? I'm trying to think who in your class. I'm guessing you're speaking about Tyrone.
Yeah. Yeah. He's in Saudi Arabia, I think. So I feel bad for him. He's coming in at like dinner time. So
Yes, he's a very committed student. In fact, but sharing with you, he will be traveling to the US for his graduation. So he'll experience the normal time finally. But yes, regardless of where they're joining from, they do have to find a way for their schedule to align with the campus. And in the US, that varies from starting at 7 a.m. to starting at 10 a.m. So three hours difference. But yes, international students, we do have a few countries that join. We cannot accommodate all 24 time zones. Only about half of them actually work. So Tyrone joins from He actually joins around, I think, 5 p.m. and he has an hour break for dinner and he's ending class at 10:30. So he still gets the 4 to 5 hours of live class, but he is one committed student. Yes. All right. Any other questions, Sister Mary Margaret?
We have another one. Have you felt respected by your peers even when you haven't been able to grasp certain ideas as quickly as your classmates?
Okay. And let's see, Anna, you look pretty eager to respond, though you're a straight A student. Don't know if this applies to you. Go ahead.
There are certain concepts, sometimes in science, sometimes in math, English, a lot of English that I didn't get as much as like some of my friends did. They were able to get like the English stuff very easily, and I'm just struggling there. Like, I don't really understand this, but no one was, saying, oh, you can't understand this. Everyone was trying to help, and they try to help you understand it. If you have any problems, you can ask your teacher and they'll spend the time to explain it to you. You can ask your friends for help if they can help you out. So yes, I felt very respected by all my peers. And in English, we sometimes do peer reviews. So we review some of our classmates' documents and everyone gave good tips. It was a very good environment.
Thank you. Very good. Sister Mary Margaret, any other questions?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, very good. All right, well, they took it easy on you this time. Thank you so much again for joining, the three of you. Good luck on your interim test tomorrow. You'll be in my prayers. I'll see if I can speak to admin and convince them you've earned a homework coupon through your volunteer attendance. Thank you very much.
Sister.
You're welcome. Two students who were able to join. Thank you. We have Sophia and Garrett.
Yes, hello. I am Sophia Ayanati. I am in 11th grade. I am a junior. This is my third year at Queen of All Saints. And I'm sorry, sister, is that all? But
Let's see. So are you an online student, a campus student, or are you hybrid?
oh yes, I'm an online student, sister. Yes.
Very good. Thank you very much. And Garrett, go ahead.
I am Garrett Goldbach. I am in 10th grade, and this is my 5th year in QAS. I am online.
Thank you very much. All right, so we're going to take a look at some questions from the parents. And Sister Margaret, if you could ask the questions of one of the students as they come in, whichever one would like to answer.
So our first question is, the parents would like to know how much homework you have here.
Actually, and if we could get both of you to answer this, because this does vary per student, there is a range. And the homework in high school, so both students are in high school. We have a sophomore and a junior. Before I let them answer, you can also reference actually on our website, we'll post a link in just a second, our homework policy, and it actually gives average time spent on homework per grade level, but let's let them personally answer. Sophia, can you start us off?
Yes, sister. So I would say for me, homework takes about 3 hours, I would say, per night. However, it does vary depending on the certain assignments that were given and the classes, I would say. The AP classes, I would say, have significantly more homework than the standard classes would. But I would say it's about 3 hours. If there's a test the next day, then depending on how comfortable you are with the subject, you may need to study more. But I would say about 3 hours is the standard for me.
Thank you, Sophia. And Sophia, do you mind if I share, what you score on average at Queen of All Saints? Okay. So Sophia's work does equate to academic excellence. Sophia is a straight A student. She actually has been the highest GPA in the online high school for the past 2 months. Is that correct, Sophia? I thought I saw you in the newsletter 2 months in a row.
I'm not so sure about 2 months, sister. I know it was for October, but I haven't heard anything else.
Okay, very good. And Garrett, can you also share with us, what are you looking at, for example, last night or on average?
On average, I would say about 3 to 4 hours. Again, depending on tests the next day, just what the assignment is, how comfortable you are with the material.
Sure. So do you know offhand how long you spent on homework last night, for example?
I do not time my homework. Last night, I think, was actually a little bit of a shorter night.
Yes, and for the two of you, let's see, I'm trying to think of time zones. You start class at 10 a.m. Is that correct for both of you? Okay, very good. Just to give an idea of, I'm sure the parents are interested in the sort of schedule you're looking at. So I believe both of these students go from 10 to 3:30 with an hour break midday. And it sounds like Sophia's 2 to 3, Garrett 3 to 4. And I agree, it does vary per student. It does depend on what grade level you're in and also how many AP classes. I agree, the AP chemistry, it's a heavy homework load. All right.
Right, and we have another one. The parent is asking if you could compare sitting at home on camera in front of a computer with sitting at a desk in a school.
All right, so would either of you like to speak to that? Actually, first, have either of you ever attended a school in person, a classical classroom? Sophia, can you compare what you have right now with, so you've had both experiences, right? Go ahead.
Well, yes, sister, I've had experience in a public middle school. I've had that. I've been doing my high school at Queen of All Saints, but previously I was in I would say like a public charter middle school, and I could I could talk a lot about the differences between the two schools, but in terms of just the in-person versus online part, whenever people ask me about, oh, what school do you go to, and I always have to explain, oh, Queen of All Saints, is it, where is it? Oh, it's online, and it's a whole thing. Many people think of online school, they think of very independent, that you're given the lessons and maybe a video of a lecture that you watch, and it's very like student paced. However, at Queen of All Saints, I would say the only difference is just that you're on a computer. It's very interactive. It feels like you're in the classroom because the teacher is talking to you. They call on you for answers. You give presentations in front of the class, and you also work with each other in breakout rooms. So it is a little bit different, but I would say that compared to like what many people think of online school, it's very similar to the in-person experience, I would say.
Okay, thank you.
And Sophia, do you feel, the parent asked also, do you feel stuck in one spot when you're sitting at your desk at home?
I wouldn't say so. I could see how that would definitely be a concern. That was a concern for me. I thought it would be, but I wouldn't say so, because I think there's a lot of variety in the day, and we are given like 10-minute breaks to go and walk around and use the restroom and do things like that. And so yeah, I wouldn't say that I feel stuck. It's very, yeah.
Thank you, Sophia. And Garrett, is there anything you'd like to add on to that? Maybe a different experience or just something in addition?
And not really. I mean, I don't have the in-person experience. I've always been homeschooled.
Okay.
But I do want to agree with Sophia that I do we do have the breaks throughout the day, which I find very helpful, because you just get up, walk around for a couple minutes, and then you're good for the next hour and a half.
Right. Yes, and something that also varies as far as schedule and breaks is the length of classes. In the younger grades, the classes are shorter, so there are more breaks, though the breaks are shorter as well. So in the younger grades, a class can be anywhere from 20 to 50 minutes. But in high school, they're on block scheduling. So they might have a 90-minute class, especially for like lecture history. So they are looking at longer class times, and then they have longer breaks, maybe a 10-minute break before the next class begins.
All right, we have another question here about the elementary level, and the parent asks, is there homework given to elementary students?
Yes, there is. And let's see, Garrett, I know you've been here since 6th grade. Can you speak a little bit about the progression of homework
I'm guessing you've seen ups and downs, the progression of homework from middle school to high school.
Oh, very much, sister. I remember 8th grade, I had almost no homework. And then I hit 9th grade and the homework very significantly increased. So there is homework in the younger grades, but I definitely noticed that it seems to be a lot less.
Very good. Yes, and I think again, that link to our homework policy, we do try to increase the homework incrementally as the children progress. And because we actually view homework as being useful for 2 aspects. Very often homework is seen as just a way to finish up what you started in class, but we actually view it as a very useful tool to teach the child responsibility and accountability. You know, they're independent, they're on their own, they were paying attention in class, hopefully they learned the concept. Now they have to apply it independently and get it turned in on time before 10 a.m. the next day. So that sort of responsibility, that's, you know, children don't automatically have it, especially on a daily basis from, you know, September to May, you know, to keep up with that. That is something they have to build towards and work on. So we actually assign homework for that reason as well. So even in the younger grades, even in 1st grade, we will give like 10 minutes of memorization that they're responsible to have completed the next day, more so to get them used to that independent responsibility. And for my classes as well, it encourages the student to really learn the concept during class, pay very close attention, participate, because they know they have to go home and illustrate mastery of that concept independently. Very good.
Okay, we have another question here. How easy is it to learn the tech side of the online school?
Okay. Very good. Now, Garrett, you've been with us, you know, 6 years. The tech has changed a lot for you. But if you could both speak to, if you can remember initially when you first joined, when you first enrolled in Queen of All Saints, you would have gone to that summer boot camp. We do have like 3 days of tech training for new students. So you would have had that. But first day of school, you know, getting into your classroom, writing on the virtual board, submitting assignments. Can you speak a little bit to that, Garrett?
Well, when I first started, I actually just had the iPad, which was very difficult. But then once I finally got the full computer setup, it definitely got a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything in particular, once you have the full setup and you're ready to go, that you found there was definitely a transition, a learning period to master the tech?
Nothing that I can really think of off the top of my head. I'm just used to it.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I do agree. I think at least I actually struggle with the tech more than most of my students. The younger students especially, they latch on very quickly. Sophia, can you share anything about your own personal experience with the tech?
Yes, so when I first joined Queen of All Saints, I remember setting up the computer was I would say it was a little bit of a challenge, but I think it ended up really well. And with the iPad, I really haven't had trouble with the iPad. In fact, I kind of like that everything is all in one place, that you're able to do your assignments and submit it, and also in class, all of the assignments are on the iPad. I found that to be really nice. I like that. So, and I didn't find it too difficult to figure out how the iPad works, and the computer just has Zoom, so that makes it a little bit easier. And also too, whenever I did maybe have technical issues, the IT department was very helpful. And if you submit an IT ticket and you say that it's urgent, they will help you. And in my experience, I found that to be very, very helpful. So I guess.
Okay, very good. Yes. And then just speaking on, you mentioned the computer only has Zoom. That is true. The computer that is shipped to the student, they do have to set it up before school starts, and they get the instructions and they have to set up the camera, and it is a huge box. So it's a lot to do. But yes, it is managed so that during class, all the student has is Zoom. So they're completely focused. All they can do literally is, you know, be in their classroom and participate. All right.
We have another question. Is Mass or the Rosary or Divine Mercy Chaplet worked into the day?
Okay. And let's see. So Mass is live stream, but it's optional. I actually don't think any of our online students attend regularly, but Garrett or Sophia, can you share, have you ever joined the students that you recall for spiritual exercises such as rosary, visits to the chapel, things like that? Sophia?
Yes, sister. So I believe for Ash Wednesday, we've had what are retreat days. And that is where there's no regular academic classes. It is a retreat. And we listen to lectures, especially starting the Lenten season. And so we listen to lectures given by priests, and then we also attend a recitation of the Rosary as well with the students, and that's a school-wide. That's school-wide. So I really enjoyed the retreat days. I remember the first retreat day I had, I was so happy with it. It was so educational, and it was really a really great way to start Lent. And we also do pray every class before and after class. And so prayer is worked into the day. But in terms of the rosary, that is usually for the retreat days.
Yes, very good. Garrett, do you have anything to add? Is there any other time you recall making visits to the chapel or, you know?
Yes, there is one. Usually during Advent, we do have the online visit to the crash, which we will do. Other than that, I think Sophia pretty much covered it. The retreat days are definitely very nice, as well as the prayers before and after class.
Very good.
All right, we have another one. How accessible are teachers for extra help or academic guidance outside of class hours?
Garrett, go ahead.
I find it depends on the teacher. Some teachers get back faster than others, but usually you will get a response within the next day or so.
Yes, and this is especially, I think, important for high school because in K through 8, they see their teacher every day, you know, from, depends on their schedule, but let's say 9 a.m. to 2:30, they're actually with the teacher as I am with you. So there's really only like 3 to 4 hours in the evening where they're not with the teacher. Before they, you know, dinner and bed. So, but in high school, that's not the case. In high school, especially with block scheduling and also depending on the rigor of your courses, you might not see every teacher every single day. So I know for literature, for example, you're meeting with your teacher. Literature is assigned reading and then responding to comprehension questions. And I believe you meet with Miss Sonara once a week to discuss the literature. So does she usually respond to you if you message her between that time asking for help or say you're confused about an assignment? Sophia?
Yes, she does normally respond, I would say very quickly, especially with the once a week classes as well, because I mean, obviously we only meet with them once a week. And so it's very important that we're clear on the instructions for the homework. And I think that the teachers realize that as well. So they are very quick with getting back to us. Yes.
Very good.
We have another question. Since both of you are online students, have you been able to make friends in the school?
Sophia?
Yes, I have been able to make friends in the school, thankfully. I remember last year, I'm not quite sure if we're doing it this year, but I remember a couple of the years prior, we've had these like chats on Shobi separated into, I believe, high school girls and then high school boys and like middle school girls and middle school boys. So it's separated within, and I was able to, that way we were able to exchange addresses or phone numbers or email addresses. And that was really helpful, especially when I was first starting out in the school, making new friends and getting into contact with new people. And yeah, that was really helpful. And also I would also like to mention as well, I found the breakout rooms were very helpful, and I'd say just bonding with other students as well, because you're working together, and I think over time you become very comfortable with one another. But in terms of making like friends that you can interact with outside of school, the chats were very helpful with that.
And Garrett, do you have anything to add to that?
No, sister.
Okay, very good. So do either of you participate in any clubs? Garrett, are you in any of the high school clubs? They're optional after school, but
Yes, sister. I am a member of the chess club.
okay, very good. Have you made any friends through that in the chess club?
None that I actually have like the addresses for or whatever, but I am definitely know the members really well. Like
Mhm.
I've essentially made friends with most of the members in the club because most of them come back every single year.
Right, right. Yes, and I do think that that is something I have found pretty incredible at Queen of All Saints is the level of friendship that the children are able to build. Sometimes we will have online students visit the campus yearly, or sometimes if they live very far away, bi-yearly. Sometimes they only come for their high school graduation. So Tyrone lives in Saudi Arabia. He'll finally be coming physically in person for his high school graduation. But when you see them meet their peers in person, you realize the level of friendship that they have. Last May, one of the online families was able to travel to Florida, and I saw one of the fourth graders meet his peer, and he ran up to him, his first time seeing him in person, and he gave him a hug, and they were chatting about a Lego project they've been working on, and you would have thought that they were next door neighbors. It was pretty incredible to see. But I overheard a comment. He said to him, "You look so much bigger in person than on the screen." He was a third grader, so but that was his comment as he finally saw his friend in person. So I've also heard some of the high school students will actually collaborate and even meet up with each other on breaks or during vacations for activities when they realize that they're in the same state or within driving distance.
We have another question here. This is not really for the students, though. It says, are all classes taught by religious, or are there lay teachers? If lay teachers, is there an oath to make sure they are teaching according to your values and beliefs?
So yes, we do have some lay teachers. So Mr. Rendon teaches in high school. Miss Sonara, we mentioned her earlier, she teaches in high school as well. And then we have some alumni who have graduated and taken our own teaching program. We have 2 alumni members who graduated from Queen of All Saints and are now full-time teachers. Majority of the teachers are sisters. As far as how we ensure that our teachers are on the same page that we are and have the same level of professionalism, we have our own program, and they are required to complete it regardless of their previous degree. So whether they have a master's or a bachelor's in a specific area or simply in education or in administration, regardless, they are required to complete the entirety of our program. And also to keep up, we have weekly videos posted by the principal on things she's noted in the classroom, and giving tips to the teachers on how to improve both academically, on the social side to encourage social interaction and things like that. In general, it's actually very difficult for a lay teacher to become a teacher at Queen of All Saints. We're rather picky, so you have to basically attend the parish here and come highly recommended by the priests and be known by the sisters previous to looking at your own professional credentials, such as a master's degree in education. So, so yes, it is. I would say looking at the teachers is one of the most important aspects when choosing a school. You know, the school might have good results, but if you don't know who your child is with in the classroom on a daily basis, especially with a program this interactive, it's basically like a campus. So I would encourage all of you to look at our faculties page. We have a page on our website that lists every member of our faculty, and both of our high school teachers were previously sending their children to Queen of All Saints years before we actually took them on as a teacher, and we knew them personally and had seen their previous teaching at other schools, which was excellent, before they transferred, and we were able to take them on at Queen of All Saints. One other aspect, which not all teachers are rave about this, but all the classes are recorded, and we don't post it to two parents or students for liability reasons, because the student's face, name, and voice is within that recording. But the principal does review the recordings on a weekly basis, or she'll visit a classroom randomly. And those are excellent. At least for me, it keeps me in line, makes me sure you never know when the principal is going to suddenly pop in on your screens. So that's a very good incentive to make sure the class is well prepared and well taught. All right, very good. And we've actually reached the end of our time for our student panel. So I know I need to let both of you get back to class, but thank you again very much, both of you, for joining today. And I promised this to the last volunteers, so I'll see if I can get you approved for a homework coupon for your participation. But thank you. You can head back to class, Sophia and Garrett. Going back to our slides, the very last point we wanted to make was just briefly looking at the admissions application. We actually are approaching our deadline for ensuring